Hello students. Today we will be starting the lesson Residences. The word residences means the place where a person lives. So our houses can be called residences. You might have heard that home is the first school and mother is the first teacher. Home is a familiar term for us. Early man protected himself against sunlight, rain, and wind and wild animals by living in caves and bushes. So, early man used to protect himself by living in caves and bushes. Hence, they are called as early shelters of mankind. So, caves and bushes are called as early shelters of mankind. Home became a need as man became civilized. So as we became more and more civilized, home became one of the most basic needs. Construction of houses were started by the civilized man as the need for a home increased in accordance with the changes in society. So, we started constructing our own houses instead of searching for caves or bushes to live in. We started constructing our own houses. So, this happened as the need for the house increased in accordance with the changing society. So, our society is not the same as it used to be a long time ago. As the society evolved, houses became one of the most basic needs. Therefore, we started constructing our own houses. Construction of residences started from independent houses and got transformed into community houses. So, initially we started living in caves and bushes. So, initially what we used to do, we used to go out and we searched for places where we could live in. Then we started constructing our own houses. So, first we used to construct independent houses. Next, we started constructing community houses. After studying this lesson, you will know about personal and community housing projects, understand the problems related to rural and urban residences. Look at the pictures given below. You have learned about the construction of these houses in the previous class. Write the materials required to build the houses given in the picture in the space provided. So we have to look at each type of house and we have to write the building materials required. Look at these houses one by one. The first house you can see it is constructed using mud and bamboo. So they've used mud for the construction of the walls and for the roof they have used bamboo like you can see here. Okay, so the building materials required mainly are mud and bamboo. The second house that is shown is the big bungalow. So you can see that it has colored walls, it has nice roofing, and it also has garden in front of it. So the housing materials that are required are bricks, cement, concrete and paint, and for the inside flooring you also need flooring tiles like marble or granite. The next house is a concrete and cement house. So in order to construct this, we have learned in our 4th standard that we need burnt bricks, cement and paint, and as you can see here, the doors and window frames are wooden, so wooden doors and window frames are also required. It is time for a quiz. The question is, which are called early shelters of mankind? The options are concrete houses, huts, caves and bushes, or hotels. If you need time to think, you can pause the video. The correct answer is caves, and bushes. So, in early man times, people used to live in caves and bushes to protect themselves from rain, wind, sunlight, or wild animals. People live in various types of houses such as hut, houses with tiled roof, and houses with concrete terrace. You have already seen pictures of this. I will show you some more. So this is a hut. You can see that the walls are constructed using mud, and for the roof and the doors they have used bamboo or some other tree. Next, houses with tile roof. So for the roof they have used red tiles. The next one is houses with concrete terrace. So as you can see here, the terrace is constructed with concrete. These are the three kinds of houses. Many families in villages or towns are living in houses constructed side by side in a locality. Okay, these are called residences. So, in villages or towns, when houses are constructed side by side, right next to each other, they are called as residences. The next activity is do this. Observe the lanes in your village or town. These are the areas of common residences. Generally, families lead their life by constructing their own personal houses. Okay, so families lead their life by constructing their own personal houses. The common features found in residences are given below. Write down other features that you have observed. So they have already given us three features. First of them is houses built here and there or houses in a lane. So these are two types of observations that we can make. One is either houses are built here and there or they are built in a straight lane. Okay. Next, lanes are mostly zigzag. They have also observed that lanes are mostly zigzag. And street lights are there in residential areas. Street lights are there in residential areas. I have given two more observations. So in residential areas, we will observe that there is at least one grocery shopping for that particular area. Okay, so this is where all the residents from that common residences can go and do their grocery shopping. Next, there will also be a nearby water tank in most of the residential areas. This is to supply water to all the residents of that area. You can make other observations also and add to this list. The next section we talk about community housing in detail. Facilities are rarely available in areas where people build their own houses. Nowadays, community housing projects. Okay, so community housing projects have started to meet the needs and demands of the people due to overpopulation. Okay, so due to overpopulation, more and more houses are required for people. So in order to meet these demands, community housing projects have been started. Following pictures are examples for community housing. So here we can see small concrete roof houses are created using a common construction layout in mass. So you can see many houses created in the same area and all of them look similar to each other. Next, we also see a big house that is constructed under the community housing project itself. Next, in the third picture, we see a multi-storied building where houses are built on top of each other for the community housing project. Community houses are constructed for various advantages. Some statements are given below. Some of them are not correct. Put a tick mark only for the correct reasons. So the first statement is saying many families live together in community houses. So although there are many families living in the same community, In one house, only one family is allocated. Therefore, this statement is not correct. Every family has its own house in community houses. The government provides housing facilities for the poor families by constructing community houses in villages and cities. So this statement is correct. So community houses are constructed in mass to counter or to battle the problem of overpopulation. They are constructed to provide systematic basic facilities for a large population in limited space. So this statement is the definition of community houses, providing systematic basic facilities for large population in limited space. So they have to make sure that space does not go wasted. Okay. So that is why community houses are planned. This statement is correct. Okay. Houses in multi-storied buildings are constructed and are suitable for the residency of the single family. Like we learnt in the first statement, each house is for one family. So this statement is correct. Next, let us move on to the objectives of community houses. The objectives of community houses are to provide all the facilities to the houses which are required by families. So to provide all facilities to houses. Providing good roads, transportation facilities, electrification, water supply and garbage disposal in a planned way. Okay, so these are the basic needs of any household. Good roads, transportation facilities, electrification, water supplies and garbage disposal. So the community housing facilities will provide all this to the houses in a very systematic and planned way. Constructing parks, hospital, etc. for public needs. So in any community, there is a need for parks or hospitals to take care of the health and well-being of the community. So community housing projects also construct parks and hospitals. Connecting community houses to the regional main roads. So in order to ensure good transportation, the community houses need to be connected to the regional main roads. The next activity is do this. Make groups of 4 students each. List out the facilities available in community houses. Take the help of your teacher. So the facilities available in community houses are given in the chart. Observe. We are going to start with the essentials of life that we can see here. For any community, we are going to need firstly food and water. Therefore, the first essential of life is water supply. The community housing project needs to plan water supply from the appropriate water source such as water tank and supply it to the communities. The next essential of life is food. To prepare food, the communities are going to need vegetable stalls and they are also going to need groceries or provisions that we get in provision stores. That is why the next 2 essentials of life are vegetable stall and provision of life. Next, for any community to live healthily and cleanly, we have to make sure that it's not dirty and garbage disposal is properly planned. Therefore, the next essential of life is garbage disposal. Finally, the communities also need electricity for lighting purposes. Therefore, another essential of life is electricity. Now, let us look into the health and sanitation needs of each community. The most important need for health and sanitization is proper toilet facilities. Okay, so indoor toilets are very necessary to maintain community well-being. Next, to keep the children healthy and active, playgrounds need to be planned for each community. Okay, and for adults, similarly, gym needs to be provided so that everybody can remain healthy and active. Each community needs to have a dedicated health center to provide primary health care. Also, like we learned, garbage disposal is very essential. Similarly, drainage disposal also need to be taken care of. So, underground drainage, which healthily removes the drainage water from the community to the appropriate dumping location, is also needed. Next, let us look into transportation facilities that are needed for each community. Firstly, the community needs to be designed in a safe and healthy manner where no part of the community is under danger from traffic. Okay. Next, parking facilities need to be provided for the people of the community to park their vehicles. There needs to be proper access to roads from the community. And there also needs to be proper street lights given so that people can use them during night times. Next, another essential for each community and their social well-being is entertainmental and cultural programs. So, a park can be provided for the community. Also, community hall where community functions can take place. A film talkies can also be provided for entertainment reasons, and a drama theatre can also be provided. Students, this is the list of facilities that are available in community houses. It is time for a quiz. The question is, which of the following is not an essential for life feature of community housing projects? The options are provision stores, film talkies, water supply, or vegetable stall. The correct answer is film talkies. So film talkies is not an essential for life feature. The others, provision for stores, water supplies, vegetable stalls, they are all essential for life features, whereas film talkies, it comes under entertainment and cultural programs. The next activity is it possible to provide facilities available in community houses to the independent houses? Discuss with your friends. So, we saw the different facilities that are provided to the community houses. Providing them to independent houses can be difficult because the planning of the community houses is done in a manner to facilitate the provision of all these facilities. For example, if you want to provide facilities such as roads to each independent house instead of a community, it is going to be very difficult and it would lead to wastage of area. You can think of other reasons why it is not possible to provide these facilities for independent houses as well. Next, usually community housing projects are implemented in suitable places in villages and cities. Okay. Then the government built community houses in the villages. The government has formed separate housing boards for the construction of houses in cities. So the government has two separate housing boards, one for villages and one for cities. Many problems arise during construction of houses in villages or cities. We will look into each of these problems in details. The above pictures reveal some problems of the residential areas. Observe the following statements. Some problems of rural and urban areas are given. So before we move on to this activity, let us take a look at all these pictures. In the first picture shown here, you can see that there is a problem for garbage disposal that has resulted in the garbage being disposed right in front of the houses. So this is not healthy for the community well-being. Garbage disposal in front of the houses would release a lot of chemical substances which is not good for human consumption. Also, Garbage disposal in front of the houses might attract mosquitoes and other insects, which might lead to spread of diseases. In the next photo, we see that the houses are not provided with the basic facilities like roofing, toilets, bathrooms, roads, etc. So in houses like this, imagine if there is heavy rains that is taking place. It would be a big problem for the residents to keep themselves and their families safe. Next, in the third picture, we can see there is a long queue for water. So water is one of the most basic essential for our lives, and provision of drinking water must be made to each individual houses of the community. For the next activity, they have given us three problems of the housing areas in urban regions. We have to write the rest of the activity. Housing problems in urban areas. First one is no underground drainage system. The next problem is garbage disposal problems. So we learned that these two are very important facilities that are needed by any community housing area in our chart in the previous section. So if these are not available, that would lead to problems in the housing areas. The next problem is frequent fire accidents in multi-storied buildings. Due to the near construction of different stories, this might lead to very frequent fires. Now, let us think and write more problems that we have observed in housing areas in urban regions. I have given two problems that we might have observed in urban areas. One is the safety of the electricity supplies. We have to make sure that the wires which are supplying electricity to the houses are very safe and are constructed scientifically. So if there are live wires left in the open, these are very hazardous and dangerous to life. The next problem is water supply for drinking. We have observed that unfortunately, many drinking sources such as ponds, lakes, rivers in urban areas have become very polluted. This water cannot be supplied for drinking. So, if these water sources are polluted, then from where do the urban housing areas get water from? So that is another problem, shortage of drinking water supply. For the next activity, they have given us three problems of the housing areas in urban regions. We have to write the rest of the activity. Housing problems in urban areas. First one is no underground drainage system. The next problem is garbage disposal problems. So we learned that these two are very important facilities that are needed by any community housing area in our chart in the previous section. So if these are not available, that would lead to problems in the housing areas. The next problem is frequent fire accidents in multi-storied buildings. Due to the near construction of different stories, this might lead to very frequent fires. Now, let us think and write more problems that we have observed in housing areas in urban regions. I have given two problems that might be observed in rural areas. First one is no proper ventilation or lighting. So for healthy growth of human beings, we need proper ventilation of air and good lighting in order to protect our eyes. Okay, so if no proper ventilation or lighting is available, that might be a problem. Another one is no protection against extreme weather conditions. So if there are extreme weather conditions like heavy rains, heavy winds, or even very cold temperatures, then the housing areas in rural areas might not help fight against them. Next, look at the list of urban and rural housing problems. The facilities that the best city residents, village residents must have are given here. Now, we will look at this list which says what are the facilities that a very good or the best residents either in cities or in villages needs to have. First one is proper ventilation and light. So there needs to be windows such that air and light enter the house. Next, rainwater harvesting system from the roof of each house to its storage. So we saw that supply of drinking water might be a problem in these housing projects, correct? So to counter or to fight against that problem, we can harvest rainwater from the roofs of each houses and then supply it to the storage where we can use it for future reasons. Next is electricity can be obtained by solar energy. So in India, we have abundant solar energy during most of the seasons of the year. This can be converted to electricity by the use of solar cells. Again, this can be added to the roofs or to any high elevated region of the house which is getting sunlight. The next feature is closed underground drainage system. So we saw that underground drainage system is very important to maintain community sanitation. That is why closed underground drainage system is a housing feature for the best city or village. Next, proper system for garbage disposal and preparation of manure from garbage. So, wet garbage like peels of vegetables and fruits, food materials that are being disposed can be used for preparation of manure. We can use this if proper facilities are available for the preparation of manure from garbage. In many households in rural areas where there is cattle rearing that is taking place, the dung of the cattle is used to prepare gobar gas. Okay, if the garbage cannot be used for any purposes, then there needs to be a system for proper garbage disposal. Next, a good house can provide health, happiness, and peace for the family members and their neighbors. Houses with the best facilities lead to good health. That is the last part of the lesson, residences. So we have concluded the lesson, residences.